Right now your test suite lives on your laptop. It runs when you open your terminal and type the command. When you forget, it does not run. When you are out sick, it does not run. When a developer merges code at 11 p.m. on a Friday, it definitely does not run. And that is exactly when bugs slip into production. CI/CD changes this entirely. When your tests are wired into a CI/CD pipeline, they run automatically on every single commit before that code can be merged, before it can be deployed, before anyone can say it works. A developer pushes code. The pipeline triggers. Your tests run. If they pass, the merge is allowed. If they fail, the pipeline blocks the merge and sends a notification. Nobody has to remember anything. Nobody has to be at their desk. The safety net is always there. In this video I am going to show you exactly what a CI/CD pipeline looks like, how GitHub Actions works, and how to wire your Playwright test suite into it so your tests become a permanent gatekeeper instead of something you run occasionally. Let's define the terms, because they are often used interchangeably but mean different things. CI stands for continuous integration. Every time a developer pushes code to a shared repository, that code is automatically integrated, meaning it gets built and tested against the rest of the codebase. The goal is to catch integration problems early, before they pile up. CD stands for continuous delivery or continuous deployment. If CI passes all tests green, the code is automatically prepared for release, and in the case of full continuous deployment, actually deployed to production without any manual step. For QA engineers, the important part is CI. This is where your tests live. Your test suite is the thing that runs during the CI phase and produces the pass or fail signal. A green pipeline means the tests that were written say this is safe to merge. A red pipeline means something broken needs to be fixed before this code goes anywhere. Your job as a QA engineer shifts from clicking run to writing tests that are reliable enough to be trusted as a gate. That is a meaningful shift in how your work affects the team. Let's look at a real workflow file. GitHub Actions is the CI/CD tool built directly into GitHub, no extra account, no separate service, free for public repositories. To wire up your tests, you create a file inside your repository at this path, .github/workflows/playwright.yml. Here is what a minimal working workflow looks like. First line, name : playwright tests. Second section, on : this controls what triggers the pipeline. You write push to trigger on every push, and pull _request to trigger on every pull request. Third section, jobs : inside jobs you define a block called test : you set runs - onto Ubuntu - latest, that is the server that will execute your tests. Then you define steps. Step 1 uses :actions/checkout at v4, this checks out your code onto the server. Step 2 uses :actions/setup-node at v4, this installs node.js. Step 3 run :npm install, installs your dependencies including Playwright. Step 4 run :npx playwright install -- with -steps, installs the browser's Playwright needs. Step 5 run :npx playwright test, runs your tests. That is the entire file. Push it to your repository. From that moment on, every push triggers a run. Every pull request shows a green check or a red X before anyone reviews the code. Here is what it looks like when the pipeline runs. In GitHub, navigate to the Actions tab of your repository. You will see a list of workflow runs, each one tied to a commit or pull request. Click any run to see the details. On the left, the jobs that ran. Click the test job. You will see each step execute in real time or review the output after the fact. If all your tests passed, every step shows a green checkmark and the overall run shows green. The pull request itself will show a green check, meaning this is safe to merge. Now here is the valuable part, what a failing run looks like. If one of your tests fails, the step that ran Playwright test will show a red X. The output expands to show which test failed, what the expected value was, what the actual value was, and a screenshot of the browser at the moment of failure. That is your bug report. The developer looks at the failure before their code is merged, not after it reaches production. The cost of the bug drops dramatically. And here is the career impact: when you are the QA engineer who wired up the pipeline, you are the person who prevented that bug from reaching production. That is visible. That is measurable. That is the kind of contribution that gets you promoted. Here is the mindset shift I want you to take from this video. A test that only runs when you remember to run it is a checklist. It is only as good as your discipline on any given day. A test that runs automatically on every commit is a safety net. It catches things when nobody is watching. It never forgets. It never calls in sick. That distinction, checklist versus safety net, is the difference between testing and quality engineering. Testing is reactive. Quality engineering is structural. When you wire your test suite into a CI/CD pipeline, you are no longer just running tests, you are building infrastructure that enforces quality as a condition of the development process. The team cannot merge broken code even if they wanted to. That is a different kind of contribution than a QA engineer who runs a regression suite at the end of a sprint. And here is the practical impact on your career. The engineers who understand CI/CD are the ones teams cannot afford to lose. Not because the tests are hard to write, the tests are what you have been learning this whole series. But because the engineers who can make quality structural, who can make it automatic, are rare. You are becoming one of them. Let's recap. 1. CI/CD makes your tests run automatically on every commit, no one has to remember. 2. GitHub Actions is free, built into GitHub, and requires a single YAML file to set up. 3. The workflow file lives at .github/workflows/playwright.yml in your repository. 4. On push and pull request are the triggers tests run before code can be merged. 5. A failing test in CI produces a bug report with screenshots before code reaches production. 6. Wiring a pipeline turns your test suite from a checklist into a safety net that is quality engineering. In the final video of this series, we are zooming all the way out, the complete QA career roadmap. Where you start, where you grow, what the senior levels actually look like, and how to know which direction to go next. 10 episodes. The full picture. Subscribe so you catch the finale. And drop a comment: has your current team got tests in CI? If not, after this video, you know how to change that. QA Career Lab. Because quality is not an accident. It is a practice.